Hello and welcome back to another week of Sambo iRacing. We're back in the Porsche 911 992R, the GT3, this time at Interlagos for yet another track guide. Now, I'm using a setup that has been curated by Gianni Lutzu, real-life racing driver, all-time iRacing god, 10.5K. He's a full-time driver coach as well, and now we produce setups. So if you do want to race this exact setup, there is a link in the description to our Patreon page where you can go and do it. Now, this lap was done using the race setup. There were only about 15 litres of fuel left at the start of the last lap. Any questions, let me know in the comments, and as always, we're going to do a hot lap of breakdown, then we will be back in the cockpit one final time, the driving line on. Phew, let's go. So here we are, smashing it down the main straight, looking for the 50 marker on the right side, braking up to about 85%, nice solid trail off down the second gear, cut the corner over to the left, little lift back on the gas in second gear, up through third as we charge on through. Coming up to turn 4. Right, entrance road on the right hand side, on the brakes up to about 80%, down to third gear, back on the gas at the apex. You're going to exit nice and wide, that's fine. Hook it back over to the left hand side, flat out. Now we're looking for the marshals hook on the left hand side. As we get there, on the brakes up to about 40%, long trail off, drop it down to fourth gear, back on the gas. A little confidence lift from myself there, nice wide entry as we come into this corner, down to first gear and now back on the gas. Little lift and just lightly on the brakes. A lot of patience on exit, looking for this tree on the left hand side, braking up to about 75%, down to first gear, hook it round on the right hand side, over to the right. Now we're going to cut back absolutely flat out here as we go through turn 11. On the brakes up to about 75%, down to second gear, back on the gas ahead of the apex, exit wide, back over to the left hand side. And now we're just going to try and keep it as tight over to the left as possible without scrubbing the tyres. So I did the same time in the Ferrari and the Porsche. The Porsche just feels that little bit more manoeuvrable with it as normal. We have the breakdown lap coming up next. Right, breakdown lap. So first braking marker, this 50 board on the right hand side. So as we get there, on the brakes, briefly up to about 85%. Trail it off down to second gear, picking back up on the gas at the apex. Little lift, now back on the gas at the apex again. Right, so you can use just before the 50 board, or I use this little entrance road on the right hand side. As you can see, as I'm exactly alongside there, get on the brakes up to about 80%, wipe that speed off, trail it off down to, well, we stay in third, sorry, in the Porsche, getting back on the gas at the apex. Right, marshals are on the left-hand side, so it's basically as we're alongside it, we get on the brakes up to about 45%, and this time long trail off. Now, I did try this in the fixed setup, and yeah, I was considerably slower. This is a great setup curated by Gianni. As you can see, for this corner, we just come off the gas, we're lightly just touching the brakes. And then once we get down to the apex, back on the gas in first gear. We're looking for this tree on the left-hand side, just as we're about to come alongside it. That's when I get on the brakes up to about 75. Trail it off down to first gear, get that nose turned in, and we start getting back on the gas at the apex. Beautiful sunrise here in Interlagos. So our braking marker for the last braking corner is halfway along this sort of weird cobbledy track bit on the right hand side, and we brake up to about 80%, trail it off down to second gear, getting back on the gas at the apex. Head back over to the left hand side. And over and across the line we go, a 1:30.8. We've got one final version coming up next with the driving line on without me talking. Enjoy.